What's up? What's up? Real MVPs, Ricky Widmer here, along with my beautiful co-host, Dave Oster.
Hey, everybody.
And welcome into another edition of MVP Sports Live, the show where Dave and I talk about all the best. It's the best sports news going on, and we give you our opinion. We got a jam-packed show. We're talking basketball, heavy basketball to start. Duh.
Thank God.
We're talking no NFL today. Actually, no NFL because tomorrow's all NFL.
Tonight, though.
We
got
do.
a game tonight. You want to honorable mention at the beginning?
Well, I was going to say Wet Boys. We'll talk about the Thursday night game. I mean, what? You gonna, unless you want to do it to start.
Do your 2-minute rundown of how much our fans should love us and how they should support us, and then we'll talk football.
All right. Let's get into that housekeeping that Dave is referring to. Discord, you should join it. It's the best. EU Huntu's in there. This guy's in there. Soapy's in there. I'm just sniping Twitch chat right now to see which one of our Discord members are there. To get in there, link down below in the description. Or if you're on Twitch, !Discord. Get you that link. Go and join it. Philly Sean, he is also in there as well. It's a great time. Great conversations to be had all the time. If you want to support us, patreon.com/MVP vids is one way you can do that. Bronze, silver, gold, and platinum levels. And thank you to our Patreon sponsors, Pat Hill and Philly Sean. You can also support us by throwing us a Twitch sub. Maybe you've got Prime Gaming. Amazon's just giving it to you. Throw it at us for a month. I mean, I know there's a lot of creators you watch out there, but give it to us 1 month and get the bronze rewards for a month. And it's no cost to you. It's on Amazon's dime, not on your dime. And then last but not least, we're always on Twitch, Monday through Friday, twitch.tv/MVP vids. And we're on YouTube at MVP Sports as well, doing more than just this Sports Live. But Dave, let's preview the Thursday night football game. We've got the Dolphins and the Jaguars. Is this a Minshew mania win? Like, is this the Jaguars' second win of the season? I wanted to say first, but then I forgot they upset the Colts week 1.
They didn't just upset the Colts. They beat the Colts down. 19 to 20 passing completions for Gardner Minshew in week 1. Week 2 obviously took a step backwards, but still had a pretty decent game. I like them over the Dolphins. The Dolphins, man...
You were high on them.
I could not have been more wrong on the Dolphins. Like, if there's a team in the league that I just regret everything I said about, it would be the Dolphins. I think that I'm just a year early. I think I pictured Tua Tagovailoa playing, gelling right out the gates, being the guy for that team. And, you know, it's not this year. I love Fitzmagic, love the beard, respect the beard. I'm envious of said beard because I can't grow one myself. But that doesn't mean that that's a good Dolphins team. They've got a hell of a fucking tight end down there in Gesicki. Right?
Gesicki.
Okay. Yep, just making sure. I was like, I want to make sure I hit that one.
No, you're good.
But that team is missing an it factor to it. I like the idea of Gardner Minshew refusing to lose. Like, he just seems like the anti-Jaguar player right now. He's like, I will fucking put it all on the line. I'm going to go hard every single night. Like, he's anti-tank. That's what I love about that man. That man's got attitude. That man wears jorts. He's everything you want him to be.
Well, this is the beard versus the mustache, Dave.
Yes.
It's the Fitzpatrick beard versus mustache. I am too. The line for this one is -3 in favor of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And if I was betting this -3, so they're a 3-point favorite.
You got the way you said that is just stupid, though.
Yeah, -3 for the Jaguars, so they're a 3-point.
No one ever says -3 for the Jaguars.
Well, that's how I say it. It's a 3-point favorite. Get on board, Dave. Get on board with the lingo. I'm going 28-24 Jaguars. 28-24.
Cool.
Basically, bet with the favorite. That's what I'm telling you.
Cool.
Am I a bettor? No, I've never bet on a game before in my life. I'm not trying to know what I'm talking about when it comes to betting.
You clearly don't.
It's not like I've got the suit on, Dave, and I'm like, oh man, I'm a betting expert. I know literally nothing about betting because knowing me, I'd lose all my money doing it.
That's all right. I think the Jags got this one. I think that it should have been like Dolphins +5. Like Dolphins. They literally needed, they need a lot.
Should have been more than just a 3-point favorite for the Jaguars. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, I feel like the Jags feel like more of a complete team. I trust the Jags offense. And their defense isn't terrible. So, yeah. I think decent scoring game though. I think both teams will get in the end zone.
Yeah, Philly Sean says 27-17. I think the Dolphins score more than that. I just think they're not going to score a ton, but they should get 21 at least.
Yeah, it's kind of a weak Thursday night.
They usually
I hate to say it, but like
we say that though, and then watch. This will be one of the more entertaining Thursday night games.
Could be a banger.
It
but
could
like wise, like I feel like a couple of years ago we had some like really awesome Thursday night games.
Yeah, and
like Jaguars Dolphins this year feels like maybe not the best product the NFL could put out there.
Jaguar with Tua Tagovailoa was supposed to be starting by this time, Dave.
The wasn't supposed to be Fitzpatrick. Florida's going on right now.
But let's move on. Let's go NBA. That's what we're going to start the show off proper with. And
did you just see the rumor mill that Philly Sean dropped in our Twitch chat?
No.
I sent you a Discord message of the thread.
Did you?
That one I don't know if you want to talk about today, if you want to wait a day, because that's rumor mill.
Yeah, let's see. Let's see. Are we making a change?
Are we going all in on rumor mill?
Now, no, I don't want to open it in the Reddit app. Let's see. Why
wouldn't you?
So basically, this is talking about just Cat being traded or on the market. Is that what this is about?
It says the Wolves are not trading Cat anytime soon. It's not to that point. Cat is not demanding a trade anytime soon, but the chatter is out there, including people very close to Cat. So it sounds like he is not going to want to be on this Minnesota Timberwolves team long term.
I'll say we'll talk T-Wolves tomorrow, mainly Dave, because I did some work and I got graphics. And the graphics are already made. They're locked in. I got a 76er one right here that is Mike D'Antoni. And this is what I'm going to... Whenever I say Mike D'Antoni's name...
You should put in parentheses.
This is what I'm going to say. It's the name I love to say. It's the name that you hate to hear me say. Mike D'Antoni. Because I'm done with people saying, do you know it's Mike D'Antoni? It's not D'Antoni. It's like, yes, it's a bit. It's like we say Marux Morris. His name really is not Marux Morris.
We are fully aware that Marux Morris is not a person, and then it is Mike D'Antoni.
But Mike D'Antoni, Dave, is rumored to be the Sixers guy. The guy that the Sixers are going to make their next head coach. And there's a tweet and then an article I have here where the tweet is from the NBA Central that says, the 76ers are letting teams know they are open to trade talks if they hire Mike D'Antoni, per at Keith Smith NBA. Then there's a Bleacher Report article by Tyler Conway that says this: the Philadelphia 76ers' interest in Mike D'Antoni may not be limited to just his coaching accolade. John Clark of NBC Sports Philadelphia reported the Sixers believe hiring D'Antoni could help lure James Harden to the franchise. Harden can become a free agent after 21-22 season. While this plan might sound good in theory, the logic doesn't take long to unravel. The question I want to ask with this, Dave, is not really the James Harden question. It's more of, if D'Antoni comes to the Sixers, can he lure a star to Philly? Not even James Harden, just a star to play with Embiid and Ben Simmons.
I mean, who says both those guys are going to be there? I heard the rumor was that the 76ers were saying if they get Mike D'Antoni,
that they're trading him,
that anyone on the roster is up for grabs. They'd be willing to move any piece on that roster, which I think is something you have to promise because, let's be honest, Mike D'Antoni is the guard whisperer. He is the guy who's going to get the most out of your point guard or your shooting guard, your primary ball handler.
Yeah.
And let's just say stylistically, Ben Simmons would be a new challenge for him. So it turns into the question of, well, what if?
This would, it would almost have to happen before the draft, Dave.
Yep.
But Mike D'Antoni gets hired by the 76ers.
Yep.
At the draft, the T-Wolves go, yo, man, we want to bring Ben to play with Cat and play with D'Lo on this team. What if, because they want to prep that trade, they go, we'll just take LaMelo Ball number 1 and try to package a trade package around LaMelo Ball for Ben Simmons? And would that even be something the Sixers would want? Because you say that D'Antoni can get the most out of your main ball handler.
Your primary ball handler. Yeah. I mean, like you're going to trade a point guard who can't shoot, a point guard who won't shoot for a point guard who can't shoot. Like,
but could D'Antoni bring it out of him? Can he get the most out of LaMelo Ball? I know that it's one of those things where it's like I would say no to that only because if you're bringing in D'Antoni, you want to win now. You're not going to bring in a rookie to be developed, and it's going to be X amount of years before you're in a championship race then. I
mean, some would say they're not in one now, really, but
good point.
Maybe they jumped the gun on that one a smidge. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I think people are jumping the gun on the entire fact of like, can he not work with, Ben Simmons? Can he not find a way to make Ben Simmons a better basketball player? And that's where I would start things off with. Like, I totally get the idea of bringing him into the team and saying up front, hey, we're willing to move any piece to help you play the game you want to play. And I think that's super empowering and super tempting as an offer for a head coach that like these kind of rumors are coming out publicly. And again, they're rumors, they're just talk. Maybe it's just people trying to get them, get the media juices going out there. But the idea that, hey, we're not locked into rolling with the, 39-year-old Al Horford out there earning a max deal and Joel Embiid next to each other as our plan of the future. That's not how we win a championship. I'm sorry. So I'm glad to hear that, hey, people can be moved. That's not a problem. We're giving creativity to our head coach. And if D'Antoni is our head coach, we're willing to make the roster moves to help him build a roster that he thinks can compete for a championship. And that's the kind of confidence.
Should he be the coach? Should he be the one that they hire?
He's the best coach on the market.
I say that because Philly Sean in Twitch chat is against it, Dave. Sixer fan against the hiring of D'Antoni.
That's fine, but I would say that he's been one of the best top 4, top 5 coaches in the NBA for the last 5 years. He's been nothing shy of excellent offensively. There's a level of genius there. Defensively, he has came up with creative solutions, interesting lineups, different matchups, ways to exploit other teams. And it just comes down to, are you going to hold the lack of championships against him? Or are you going to understand that there are, things happened. Things happened on his way. Had Chris Paul not gotten injured, could they have won a championship that year? Absolutely. I think they were the best team in basketball that year. Had, Russell Westbrook not burnt himself out to the point of whatever and decided to start chucking threes, could they have competed better? Absolutely. Like, there's a lot of cases you can look back and point and be like, well, what about that? What about that? It's like, look, understand as a whole, this man has won like an average of 50 plus games or 50 win pace for like 5 years. And he's done it with one incredibly talented guard the entire time and then wild cards around him.
Yeah.
As far as those surrounding cast pieces. So I'd love to see what he could put together in Philly. I think he is, again, the best coach available. I don't understand any reluctance around going at him. So Philly Shaw, if you want to drop that in the comments while Ricky takes over, I just, where's the hatred for D'Antoni coming from Philly?
I mean, for me, it's one of those where it's like, I could see if a fan base is like, well, he didn't you could put on he didn't really get the job done in Houston, but at the same time, you could also say the players didn't execute the game plan. Like, yet again, is it D'Antoni's fault that they missed the 27 threes because it's like, this is the system, this is what we're going with? Or is it the players' fault for not hitting at least one of those threes? Literally, like I remember talking on the fast break, you hit one and you win the game. Like 1 3 would have sufficed.
They did, and again, I will remind you, they did hit one, and it was a foul called on that one, but they incorrectly called it a foul prior to the shot, and waved off the shot that James Harden sunk. James Harden did sink a 3 during that streak. I think that was around miss 13, which was still incredible, but the ref fucked over Houston yet again that series. If you go back, I think the refs really fucked them up a lot.
Yeah, for me, it's like,
so passionate.
This is a team that is between a rock and a hard place because they're a team that feels like with Ben Simmons, with Joel Embiid, with both of them healthy, that they should be competing for a championship. They should be where Miami, like, if I'm a Sixers fan, I'm looking at Miami right now going, that should be us. That should, and it's not only because of Jimmy. Like, I know people can say, you let Jimmy walk, you're looking at, like, basically what you could have had and what you had walk away. But I'm not even with Jimmy, like, out of the question. Like, they feel like they should be a team that is competing for final appearances and championships and in the Eastern Conference Finals, not a team that was in the first round, got bounced from the first round. Like, I know that last year was a different year because you had the 4 bounces, and that was just a miraculous shot by Kawhi.
Yes, it was.
But, like...
This year, Ben Simmons was out.
And it's just the question that I asked numerous times is, can Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid win you a championship? I think that answer to that question is no. I think that one of them needs to be moved, whether it's Embiid, whether it's Ben Simmons. For me, I'm thinking, depending on what I'm getting, if I'm going to be able to get somebody that's a ball handler and is going to be in the backcourt, then I'll trade Ben Simmons, because I've said it numerous times, Dave, when we've talked about the Sixers. Like, Ben Simmons, my biggest problem with him is that we always hear, oh, he's working on a 3, he's working on the 3, shooting the 3, but then he just doesn't take them. And it could have just been a Brett Brown problem, that Brett Brown wasn't like, hey, no, you're going to shoot the shot. You're going to go with it. Maybe D'Antoni gets that out of him and it's basically like, hey, I'm going to work with you and I'm actually going to, like, force you to actually shoot them so that you're confident in them. Maybe that's the thing. It's just, this Sixers team, I have never believed that they have the champion. Like, to me, they are more of the team that it's like, they will be flashy. Embiid will make headlines because of his Instagram posts and his tweets and what he says to Giannis on the court, but they will never make the headline where it counts, being a champion or being in a finals.
Oh, yikes.
I'll say it. Joe and Ben are not making a finals.
I'm just fighting words, I really do. I feel like that's perhaps a bit much. But that's your opinion. You're entitled to it. I think that my target would be Joe. I think Ben is the guy who,
because of the injuries.
Because of the injuries, because who wins the game with 5s? No one, outside of fucking Nikola Jokic apparently right now. But it's a special case, although Embiid is thought to be the other center at the top of the NBA. They're 1-2. So it's up for question. Philly Sean, thanks for responding to us in the comment section in Twitch. Gonna shout you out here. Most Sixers fans don't want D'Antoni because he doesn't fit our stars. We want to build with Ben over Joe. D'Antoni will never work non-shooting point guard. Can he win you a championship? From what I've seen, no. Well, okay, let me break that down then. Number one, can he work with your 2 stars? Can he work with a point guard who is incredible defensively and above average offense slasher, and a 5 who, I mean, two-way machine? We would have just said second best big man in the NBA, perhaps. I think he can. I think that just because he has not had stars like that in the past in his systems, and you look at his team out there in New York, he was doing well until Carmelo went full diva mode. He was doing okay in Houston, doing just fine. No real issues there. But I mean, like, they did move on from Clint Capella. Before they did that, they did have the best pick and roll game in the history of the NBA and just absolutely dominate. So I do kind of question, like, just because we haven't seen him work with that kind of talent yet doesn't mean he can't. It just means those are the stars that his GM provided for him. He's not somebody who, you know, had the best pull with his front office. It was pretty clear he did not want Russell Westbrook on that team, and yet they went out and made that deal happen because it was what made their star happy, and their GM agreed with the star over him. So then he had to rework an entire system around Russell fucking Westbrook, who was coming off of an injury. And his stats, I want to remind people that from New Year's through the end of the season, he actually pulled a hell of a carry job with his team, shooting 52% from the field, 31% from 3 on 2 attempts a game, which is, for Russ, that's pretty fucking good compared to where he was at before. And scoring 32 points a game, 8 boards, 7 assists, 2 steals, like just absolute insane numbers. I'm going, well, there's your Ben Simmons example. That's exactly what if he can do that with Russell Westbrook, why can't he do that with Ben Simmons?
Mm-hmm.
Why can't he get Ben to take a 1.5 threes a game and use him a la his experience with Russell Westbrook?
Mm-hmm.
He found a way to win with that team. They went on an absolute tear with Russ out there doing that, and that supporting cast being, a bunch of guys, let's be honest. They made the trade partway through that to do the Rocco-Capella swap, and that helped out their team a bunch. So I do have to question the fact that you don't think he has the ability to coach non-shooting point guards, because I think that Russell Westbrook is proof that, like, he found a way to, like, purify the essence of Russell Westbrook down to, like, okay, so I know I said don't take twos, but that goes for everybody else. For you, you're exclusively going downhill, Russ. We're gonna embrace what makes you special, take that energy, take that athleticism, and shoot you out of a fucking cannon at the other team and watch them try to play catch up, because the opportunities that you will create for everybody else, numbers are going to look amazing across the board, and they did. So like, I really don't know. I don't think there will be any issue if the 76ers do get him, because I think he can treat Ben Simmons like a souped up version of Russell Westbrook. Obviously defensively, I think that Russ played balls to the walls and was able to risk a lot, because Houston had a hybrid zone defense out there with incredible help defenders, whereas Philly does not have that outside of Matisse Thybulle. He seems like the only guy out there who has got head on a swivel at all times. So, Ben Simmons, thankfully, literally one of the best defenders in the league, all defensive team. But like, I think personnel-wise, you're concerning yourself too much with, just because he's done that in the past doesn't mean he can't do this with your talent. And I don't know who's long-term on this team is the other thing.
Well, and that's why I'm going to interject to where I feel like when we're thinking about Mike D'Antoni to the Sixers, we shouldn't be focusing on him actually coming in and being like, okay, he hasn't done enough. What we should focus on is the tweet that I mentioned earlier. Basically, the Sixers have already said if he comes in and becomes the head coach, they're basically saying it's an open slate, Mike. We will move whoever we have to. We will try to bring in whoever you want us to. Like, that's what I read in there. Basically, It's we are married to no one. If we bring you in, we're going to basically not do what Houston did. We're not going to bring in a Russell Westbrook that clashes with you and your style and with someone you didn't want to bring in. We are basically giving you the keys to the kingdom. Like Elton Brand, I feel like, would be saying to Mike, hey, you tell me who to trade for and I'll go get it done. Like, I will go do it. And like,
do you believe it though? That's my problem.
I don't believe that Elton Brand will be able to do it. I will believe he will try to do it. Like,
let's just put it this way. He has not been a great GM in his time as GM, operations manager, whatever the fuck his actual title is. Like, honestly, what they did last offseason cratered this franchise. Like, let's be brutally honest. We tried to tell ourselves in the mirror that, oh, it's going to be great on paper. They've got such a good lineup. We're going to see Al Horford continue, at the all-star level that he was at in a new system, and Joe now has nobody who can compete with him out in the East. It's going to be completely his league. And Ben's shooting threes now. And, we swapped fucking Richardson for Jimmy, and he's the quiet guy, so he'll just shoot threes and play late defense. Unfortunately, like, 3/4 of those things just didn't happen the way you thought they would. Obviously, Horford in this system sucked massive dong. Richardson was a ghost half the season, unfortunately for them. And Ben never shot threes. Obviously, getting rid of JJ because they didn't want to pay him money hurt them. They did not have the ability to have go-to shooting off the bench. They lucked their way into Shake Milton. Congratulations on that. I will credit their scouting on that end. And Toby, the guy they decided to pay over Jimmy Butler. I mean, it's not his fault. Who says no to that much money? But it's not his fault.
I got a question here then. Yeah. Because one of the names I see floating out in Sixers rumors is Buddy Hield.
Yes.
Apparently,
what I've heard,
apparently Buddy Hield wants to be a Sixer is what people are reading into.
Well, Buddy Hield wants to be somewhere that he will be a starter.
Dave, the question I will ask you, because we're going to talk about the Kings next. The question I will have for you is, if you are the Sixers or the Kings in this situation, but more the Sixers, what are you looking to give up, and what do you think the Kings would ask for if there was a trade that was basically the Sixers would be getting Buddy Hield and Harrison Barnes? What do you think the Sixers would have to give up, or the Kings would want them to give up for those two players?
I mean, both of those guys, Barnes on a $25 million contract, and what's Buddy's new deal?
So Buddy's is 24.4. And then Harrison is at a 22.2.
Okay, 22.2. Okay, so basically they're trying to say like Al Horford and Richardson maybe.
Okay.
And a first, maybe a second would get it done.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that contract-wise is closer, if it's a little over on the...
So the one I had worked out was, it was interesting you said Al Horford, because I originally went with Toby.
Well,
and Toby and Richardson would work. Originally, I had Toby and Richardson this year's first for those two. But then I wondered, because they're giving up Harrison and Buddy, would it take this year's first and like a 2022 first? But they're getting Toby, which, he didn't play well last year, but overall as a player, he's not that bad. As you smirk. As you should, because Toby is not worth the contract that he has right now.
Yeah, but Al Horford's the problem with the team. Tobias Harris isn't a problem. He's just exactly who we thought he was. He wasn't. He didn't take a step.
And I'm thinking, of course, the 76ers want to give up Horford, but will the Kings want Horford, or would they rather?
Of course they will. Okay. The lunatic of a fucking head coach, and mystery front office right now. They're like, you know what? We need more fucking bigs. Mm-hmm. We've taken a fucking power forward how many years in a row? We need more bigs on this team. That's the plan. That's exactly. They need a mentor in there to help the bag man. Make sure Marvin Bagley doesn't average over 22 minutes a game next year. Like that's. Mm-hmm. It seems like as a franchise they're in reverse. But I will shit on them shortly.
Yeah.
This is about what Philly can do to make a Buddy Hield deal, and I feel like Horford, Richardson are the two guys we're going to. Yeah, Philly Sean is crazy. He thinks that Tobias got traded to the Grizzlies somehow.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, you can't trade. The season's still going on right now, so that's
if that would have happened, it literally would have broke part of the NBA.
We talked about being a cool option because we think both teams would benefit, but not really a problem. Yeah. Anywho. Horford needs to be off the Sixers. That's priority one. You get rid of Richardson, who is not a bad player, who might fit the needs of what the Kings are looking for, much better than what Buddy Hield did. So you're trading them a two-way wing in Richardson. You're trading them Horford, who is a vet, savvy, can still play decent basketball. He just can't play it next to Joel Embiid. Like that was the worst pairing I think I've ever seen in NBA history. So he would be a great mentor. They've got like 14 bigs out there who could use a guy behind them telling them the little secrets to make their games just a little bit better.
Yeah.
So I like the idea of that. But yeah, you're giving up this year's first. You're giving up perhaps a future first as well. I think it's two firsts, and those two guys would get it done for Buddy and Harrison Barnes.
So it's nice to know we were on similar pages. Just swap Horford and Harris.
Yeah, I think Harrison's a better player, but I think that they need to move off of Horford. So that's why they have to give up two firsts to do it.
Because, like, Buddy Hield, the reason why I added Harrison Barnes into it is...
the ultimate fucking utility piece.
Well, like, I look at Buddy Hield, and I think with Mike D'Antoni, I feel like he could fit a similar role, and I know I'm going to get blasted for this because of the name I'm going to say. He could fit a similar role that James Harden did in the D'Antoni system. He just won't be James Harden. Like, he's not going to be that supernova. But when you think about the players, they've got similar skill sets. It's just one's a superstar and one is not considered a superstar. And probably won't be a superstar.
Do you know why one is considered a superstar?
Because he does other things than just drive to the basket and shoot threes? I'm saying does similar things. I'm not going to say he's the next James Harden, Dave. I'm not going out on that ledge. If you're going to try to get me to walk out on that plank, I'm going to say no. Cut the plank now because I ain't going out on it.
Buddy Hield can't pass the ball. Buddy Hield can't rebound the ball. Buddy Hield doesn't play defense. Those are three things that makes James Harden a supreme talent over.
And yet again, that's why I didn't say he's not. That's why I didn't say
Buddy Hield is like a souped-up Eric Gordon. That's what he'd be like in the system. Not a downgraded James Harden. He's a souped-up Eric Gordon.
And the whole and here's the thing: defense. I'll be honest. Half the time, I don't even think about defense.
Well, that's why you're shitty teams.
Half the time it's like I look at the league now and it's like, yes, there are players that play good defense. You look at Jimmy Butler, one of my favorite players.
Let's take a look at the playoffs right now. The Miami Heat, one of the best defensive teams in the NBA.
Yeah.
The Boston Celtics, one of the best defensive teams in the NBA. The Lakers, one of the best defensive teams in the NBA.
I mean, the Lakers have LeBron James. When you have LeBron James, you're going to be...
And Rajon Rondo.
No, but I'm saying, like, you're going to be one of the best if you have LeBron James. But my point with the Buddy Hield, James Harden thing was, I was thinking, like, when I said the system, when I think of Dan Antoni's system, I'm not thinking defense, Dave. I'm thinking of his offensive system. And I feel like Buddy Hield can fit in there. I didn't say he was going to be James Harden. I just mentioned James Harden's name. And, of course, people, ooh, man, compared him to James Harden. Woo!
How dare you take his name in vain?
I'm not taking his name. If anything, I'm talking highly about Buddy Hield than talking down about James Harden.
Putting Buddy Hield's next to him, James Harden, can only lower James Harden's name.
I don't see it that way. I see it bringing up one name and not bringing down the other. If it's anything, it should feel better for James Harden that people would be compared to him because that means you're a great player. Like, it's a good thing, not a bad thing.
He's an all-time great and perhaps the third best shooting guard in NBA history.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing that people get compared to you. It means, okay, you're that good that people want to compare others to you, that they could, like, use you as a benchmark of potential. It's a good thing, Dave, not a bad thing. My other point, Harrison Barnes could also fit into Dan Antoni's system offensively. Because if you look at his three-point percentages over the years, they're not bad. He just hasn't been exactly what he got the contract from the Kings because of his last year in Golden State where he played really good basketball. And I think
Mavs.
Oh, that's right. He went to the Mavs after Golden State. I forgot about that.
He's the Mavs number one option.
That's right. He got traded. So he got the contract from the Mavericks and then went over to the Kings. That's right. But like the point being, after leaving Golden State, he hasn't been a bad 3-point shooter. And that's the thing I look at in the D'Antoni system is, number one, how do you shoot the 3 ball? Because that's the most important thing.
Oh, you're done?
Yes, I am.
I was waiting for a blasphemy to come out of your mouth. I'm sorry.
Just because I mentioned James Harden's name and you disagreed, that's okay, Dave. It's okay to disagree.
I think that you're a little too simple on the front of what the Dan Antoni system is. I think that's maybe I'm offended by the simplification of what you're saying is you got to shoot good threes.
I mean, that's the first thing I would look at is if you can shoot threes, there's a good chance that Mike D'Antoni could work with you. Is there more to it, Dave? Is it more complex? Yes. But that's the number one thing I would look at is the 3 ball because you ain't going to get it from Ben Simmons.
Okay. I think that both of those guys would be huge assets for the Sixers going forward. I 100% agree on that fact. I think that Buddy will provide them excellent spacing. Harrison Barnes is the perfect third option on a team, as he's proven year over year from his time in Golden State. He's gotten to be much better of a player. He's much stronger. He's switchable. He's excellent on the offensive end and above average defensively. So I think that this is exactly what they need because that means they have diversity with he and Toby can swap depending on the matchup. And you feel really good with 2 oversized wings out there who can still defend against, all the best threes in the league. So I think matchup wise, that move straight up turns the 76ers into a competitor. It just goes, okay, so now that you fixed your biggest problem, which was the Al Horford contract, and you've added some spacing theoretically, but you've continued to mortgage your future. So now,
by giving up draft picks.
Giving up future draft picks. And potentially, Philly Sean even mentioned, Zaire Smith, which would be interesting. Because I don't know that he has a value in the league right now. The 76ers might be just better off keeping him around locally and seeing what he can continue to develop into. I think he has some NBA level skills to him, definitely. Still, I think he might be undervalued league wide, and you might think of him as a toss in when, like, in 2 years he could be something, where he's a key contributor on that defense. So hold up on that if you could. But yeah, no, I like that. I think it moves them into the top 4 in the East if they could pull that deal off.
But even when you say top 4 in the East, it's like the thing I chuckle with. It's like, is that a big enough move? Like, and it's not really about where you are in the East. It's how far are you going to go in the East.
Well, that's the thing. I think this year's proved seeding doesn't fucking matter. You get hot. It's all about making it to the dance. And I think that's the thing. Like, when it comes to matchups, the fucking Celtics have been just absolutely kryptonite for this team, obviously. And this move, yes, you're still going to get blasted because you don't have somebody who can guard Jaylen Brown. But now you have some wings out there for Jason Tatum, Gordon Hayward. I want to say Kemba Walker.
You were going to say Kemba, weren't you? Kemba.
I was going to say Kemba because Stephen A. Smith got me saying Kemba all of a sudden.
I just, when it comes to this year, like, I almost want to get on your bandwagon and say that seeding doesn't, like, not that it doesn't matter, but, like, the thing that I think will be important for when we do get back to a normal where we're in NBA stadiums, I do agree in the opinion that Colin Cowherd had mentioned about this season of because we're in a bubble, because we're in a neutral site with no fans, that we're seeing the Miami Heat and the Denver Nuggets, 2 teams that are younger teams. And I feel like if those games were like in Boston, if they were on the road, we might not have seen, like, it's not like they're going to shrivel up and do nothing, but usually it's in the playoffs, the young players that don't have it yet. They're the ones that it's like, oh man, I thought we were going to have a better game from them, but it was playing on the road affects them. And I think that the whole home away stuff would play more of an impact than, hey, I just got to come from my hotel, walk into the gym, and I'm here. It's a different NBA playoffs. Not saying it's bad, but it's different from what we've had before.
Those special talents rise above. We saw rookie year fucking Jason Tatum guarding LeBron James having a playoff performance that lit people up and put him on a fucking mantle like day one. So I think that, if anything, it just proves that in the playoffs, there's immense pressure on these young kids. I think being in a hostile crowd definitely doesn't help them. Yeah. But I think the cream of the, as you would say,
the cream of the crop, like J-Tay did step up his rookie year. Yeah. So it's like the guys who have it are going to get over that. Yeah. It's the guys that have it are going to get over it. But, like, part of me looks at that Heat team and it's like, maybe not Tyler Hero, but, like, how would a Duncan Robinson, a Kendrick, like the other young guys, would they still rise to the top and be that cream? Would they still be that cream, or would it just be Tyler Hero? And would that affect the Heat's playoff run? I don't know. It's a hypothetical. I just think that the bubble has affected the playoffs for the better this year. But before we move on, do you have anything that you feel like we haven't touched on?
Dan Tony needs to sign with Philly. Don't be afraid. He is an excellent head coach. His system is more than just shooting threes.
Shooting threes, baby.
It is so much more intricate than that. He's also got an incredible defensive mind. He knows how to work with talent and he basically goes, what are you good at? Okay, let's figure out a way to make what you're good at, what he's good at, what he's good at, what he's good at, what he's got. How can we make these all work together and build an offense that works? And then, okay, defensively, what can we do? How can we cover up for each other's weaknesses? How can we play active basketball? How can we shut down the other team? Like, there's so much to that shit. I've listened to a lot of interviews.
Double the offense, none of the defense.
It's so old. It's such an outdated fucking meme. I love Game of Zones, but just God no.
But let's move on, Dave. We talked about the Kings for a second. Let's move into them because their new GM, Monte McNair, who I believe came over from the Houston Rockets. So this article is from ESPN. It says, new Kings GM Monte McNair said he is looking forward to working with coach Luke Walton to revive a franchise that has the longest current playoff drought in the NBA. McNair was hired last week to replace Vlade Divac as a long tenure as the executive in Houston. He backed Walton publicly during his introductory news conference Wednesday. I've got to know him the last few days. We've had some good conversations, McNair said. I've heard great things. So far, I think we've got a great rapport. Luke's going to be our coach next year. I'm really excited to work with him. I think we're aligned with our vision, and we're going to start implementing it. Dave, my question for you is not, is this the right decision? Because I think I, and even Soapy, because we talked about Monty being hired, the show that Soapy filled in for you. All of us are on the same page. And me, because I liked Luke Walton before, it hurts to say this, he should probably be fired and should not have a job in the NBA. But is this more of Monty basically having Walton's back, or just I'm saying the right things, I'm being nice now, we'll go through this year, but if it don't work out this year, he's going to be gone?
Yeah, I'm surprised he has through this year. That's the thing. If you're not firing him today, not tomorrow, I guess, but if you're not firing him mid-season, if he's struggling, then you got a problem. Like, Luke Walton has had multiple chances at the head coaching level in the NBA, and he's proven time and time again that he does not have what it takes. He doesn't have the testicular fortitude.
Nice. Nice word.
I got to call back. Got to call back to the late 90s on that shit. God, I miss those promos. But yeah, no, he doesn't have it. Like, at the end of the day, he is not a head coach who knows how to work with his talent, knows how to get the best out of them. Literally the opposite of what I just talked about with Dan and Tony. He inherited a team that Dave Yeager had. Dave Yeager, known asshole of the NBA, had known to go, hey, we've got the fastest kid in the NBA. Maybe we should play up tempo. What does that create for us? Well, Buddy Hield's going to get a bunch of open threes in transition. That's probably going to work out pretty well for a guy who can shoot about 85% from three when nobody's within 6 feet of him. That's a pretty good call. That's a pretty good call there, coach.
Let's be honest. He got fired because he was an asshole.
Yeah, he got fired because he was an asshole.
That was the only reason he got fired.
But the point is that Luke Walton inherited a system that worked, that his players saw tremendous growth in, and were able to compete at a very high level at, and then they got worse under him. And I think that's the frustration is everybody expects that step forward, new head coach, new system, more success. And instead we saw a stagnant year out of the Kings. And I don't know that they're going to get any better using his system because of his substitutions, because of his questionable minutes out there. The more you watch him coach, the more questions you will have about how he impacts the game. So the fact that he's been guaranteed, a chance this season pisses me off, because I think he's the lowest guy on the totem pole. Like, this offseason, it was 100% about the New York Knicks job. It was 100% about the Chicago Bulls. Both of those teams getting rid of their idiot head coaches and then moving on. Obviously, I'm not talking about Mike Miller, not that Mike Miller, the interim coach, but their previous coach, who literally doesn't deserve take that for data. Does not deserve to be a head coach in the NBA. Excellent mind in basketball, but cannot be a head coach. But yeah, I thought theirs was the third weakest head coach in the entire NBA. I think Luke Walton was number 27.
Now, even though I went out and I said the whole reason why I would go out and I say that Luke deserves to be fired this year is because I am usually the guy that comes out, unless it's like you've got Greg Popovich as your coach or Steve Kerr as your coach. Unless you have one of those variables, when a new GM or a new president of basketball operations comes in, usually I'm the mindset of just fucking clear house. If you're a bad team, usually the hard reset is the way to go. Like with the Bulls, that was totally where the mindset was. Get them all out of here. Don't care where they go. As long as Boylan is far, far away, never to touch this team again. Get out of here, Bim Joylan. I know what you're trying to do. To play devil's advocate, though, Luke Walton's only been with the Kings a year. And if we look at his LA days, let's be honest, the main reason why it wasn't the only reason, but the main reason why he was pushed out of LA was LeBron. And the reason I say that is you bring in LeBron. LeBron played as he was the coach for LeBron for 1 year. You bring in AD. All right, there's new expectations. You no longer fit what we think this team can be under you. You're gone. We're going to bring in Frank Vogel. That's the reason he was fired.
He's not a polished head coach. He's not somebody who has those playoff expectations.
I'm not saying the Lakers were wrong. The Lakers needed a guy who has playoff experience because now that they've got AD, and it wasn't just a let's see what the young guys can do while LeBron was kind of taking the year off being injured because I believe he had the groin injury. Yeah, he had the groin injury for most of
the year.
Yeah.
He could have played more if he wanted to, but he let Brandon Ingram go out there and get it.
Yeah, that's what I say. Let the young guys play. Like LeBron didn't.
Year. He didn't take off the full
most
year.
of it. Like that's
no. He
I don't think when I think of that year, I don't think of LeBron's play with that team. It was more of like a coached year for LeBron because again he did not know.
Coast, I'm gonna fucking
no. I didn't say Coast. I said a coast year because he wasn't going to win a championship even if he willed that team to the finals. He could have, Dave. Don't get me wrong. He played with the worst roster in Cleveland. But when you look at Luke Walton and you look at the win percentages over his time in LA, they got better. They went from a 31% win team to a 42% win team to a 45% win team. Were they huge leaps of improvement? No. But the thing is, if he's given a shot in Sacramento, could the Kings be better this year than they were last year? And if he shows improvement and this team shows improvement, could he actually keep the job and be the coach for the Kings? Or is it just the mindset of, hey, this is just Monty doesn't want to make a brash decision coming out because we've already got coaching hirings having interviews and we've already had processes going on to where if it does get to like even let's say they're a 45-win team, which is technically better than last year, hey, we could still let you go and then be ahead of the curve next year.
I would have no problem with doing that as a Chicago Bulls fan. I know we fired a head coach who was a winning head coach with us in Tom Thibodeau. There are certain times when circumstances just line up.
Yeah.
You know, looking back, do I agree that was the right move? I don't know, but it's something that I don't have a problem with. If the guy isn't your guy, it doesn't matter what he did for you that season.
Yeah.
You're free to move on from him. And if other teams will pick him up, great. If you can get some value out of him, even better. But like, I got no problem with cutting ties at any point in time. I think part of the reason Luke Walton failed in LA, and I'm going to just go out on a limb here with absolutely no evidence and say, LeBron didn't respect him as a head coach. I think LeBron was in that locker room and went, I am 10 times the basketball player that you ever were. I know more about basketball than you do. I know more about coaching basketball than you do. And this isn't going to work. And we need to bring in someone I respect as a head coach, as a senior to me, not someone who is thinking he's my peer and he's clearly below me. It's very much Rajon Rondo, Rick Carlisle.
Yes.
But Rajon Rondo and Rick Carlisle, obviously Rick Carlisle is still a great head coach. Rajon Rondo, maybe just a little self-confidence overly self-confident in himself there and his skills. But I do think that they need to bring in a older, calmer voice compared to the screaming on the sidelines of a sweaty Luke Walton.
Yeah.
Now, I do admit he did get better, but at the same time, they did draft a lot of top picks in those years. It's not like they didn't get an influence or an influx of young talent. They went B.I., Lonzo Ball, and I forget the third Kuzma,
who's still there.
Who was still there. So like they had a very young roster. It was very much a rebuild time, but they did follow expectations upwards. I will give him that. I just don't think that he deserves to be the head coach of the Kings. I think that he needs to get fired. I think that most anybody they bring in outside of like Jason Kidd at this point is probably a good move. There are other names I would go for. Like I think that, well, I won't say that. Like maybe Brett Brown finds a quick job. Kenny Atkinson would be the jam. No, Kenny Atkinson. Right now, I don't understand how this man does not have a head coaching job.
Will he? I thought the Bulls were going to be his spot. Like after the Bulls get filled up, where does he go? Is it the Pacers? No,
Him and the Pacers don't seem to work in my mind. I haven't heard him as one of the top names in their books. I mean, I would have thought the Kings would have been an excellent spot for him. I don't know if the Sixers have interest in him, but it seems like the Sixers are pretty locked in Dan Antoni, rightly so, because I think he's a better coach. But still, I think that Atkinson for the Kings would be huge. I think it would be monumentally huge for them because I think he is a point guard guru. He knows how to work with that talent, and De'Aaron Fox deserves better.
I think the other thing that kind of works works against Luke Walton is the fact of like you look at BI and Lonzo, you look at what they turned into seemingly overnight in New Orleans, to where it's like you almost beg the question of like, was it just a new scenery playing with guys like JJ Redick that unlocked that, or was it Alvin Gentry alone, who also got fired this year? Was it him alone that unlocked BI, or was it something in BI? Like, what was the main catalyst? Like,
BI was who he was at the end of the season before, though. We saw BI unlocked. Like, his time at the end with the Lakers was exactly what he carried into on the Pelicans. Like, he was literally putting up 27, 5 and 5 for like 3 weeks in a row.
So then we can't, like, it's not a blame on Luke Walton then. Where it's like,
so.
Oh, you couldn't get that out of him.
He couldn't figure out a way to do that with LeBron on the court, which might have been a problem because BI standing next to LeBron was awful. But BI on his own seems to be pretty fucking great. Seems to be looking a tad bit similar to a certain Slim Reaper out there, a certain Kevin Durant. But I think the point is that, Luke Walton, it's not saying he can't coach. I'm saying he's a very poor coach. He makes very poor decisions. His time management of his talent seems to be poor. His rotations seem to be poor. There's a lot of things that he does not have nailed down. He might be an excellent guy. He might be a great guy in the locker room, but the effect on the court is negative.
Yeah, and the one thing I was going to bite my tongue, Dave.
Sure.
But I can't. I got to mention it even before, like even in passing.
No, he's got history. Yeah.
No, it's the LeBron, like the LeBron thing you mentioned, where it was like the whole thing where it's like, oh, he got fired because LeBron didn't respect him, to where it's like, I understand from the side of it to where if LeBron was like, we're not going to win a championship under him. Like, I get that. Sometimes you just don't work with a guy, but like phrasing it in the sense of like, oh, LeBron doesn't respect you. In my mind, I got the thought of like, well, that says more about LeBron than it says about Luke Walton, because like I think wrong? No, because like I think of and of course Golden State is different because they're more than just one player at their level, but like when Steve Kerr had to step away, it wasn't like we were seeing like Steph Curry or Klay Thompson have that same, like, it didn't seem like they didn't respect Luke Walton. So like for me to say like, oh, LeBron didn't respect him, I think that's putting LeBron in a bad light that I wouldn't even want to put him in, because I don't know.
I have no evidence of that. I'm saying hypothetically. Yeah. I'm saying that the way I read that situation was this.
It's just we're not going to work together.
No.
Yeah.
But from the outside, I'm going, one of these players is the second greatest player of all time.
Yeah.
And the other one is pass the ball, I'm open. Like,
yeah,
no, he's a fucking meme. He is who he is because he's a son of a
Bill
great
Walton.
Of an all-time great NBA, college, everything basketball player and announcer. So yeah, no, and there was that sexual assault allegation too.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna even.
It got cleared.
Yeah.
It did get cleared up legally. Who knows what actually happened? But it's not like he's got the cleanest of background.
Wasn't even gonna touch it.
I was.
The next thing though, Dave, there was a game last night. There was a Heat Celtic basketball game last night, and the thing I want to mention before we talk about the game is I saw this on Twitter. It was an interview with Jimmy. Don't know how old it was, but I think it was from this year, where he was talking about like why he is the way he is in practice and on the court, and it was a nice little insight to what was going on during the Chicago Bulls heydays of like Derrick Rose, Joakim Noah. because he was like, yeah, during my like rookie year when I wasn't practicing a lot, and I chuckled because I'm like, yeah, Thibodeau don't play no rookies. You don't get no practice time. He goes, I would be out there and it would be like, if even in practice, if like Joe or Derek or Taj missed a defensive rotation, like Joe would be screaming at Derek, what the fuck are you doing? That's your man. You got to get that. And like Jimmy's looking, he goes, you know, you're talking to Derrick Rose, right? The MVP, right? You're talking to Derrick Rose. But he's like, that's just how it was. So like when I got put into that like practice rotation, it was pretty much like if you messed up, you got called out for it.
Accountability.
Yeah, accountability.
What a wonderful thing.
To where it's like, it almost was, it made me be like, holy shit, like it all started back then. And if he wasn't on the Bulls, maybe we don't see the same Jimmy Butler that we see today.
I mean, dude, watching the Jimmy Butler story with him working up through fucking JUCO, like that man had an iron will, like from day one. He had the like, I'm gonna go get it for myself attitude as far as his work ethic, and I wouldn't put anything past him. Like I think that he's truly got the mentality to succeed at life at all levels because he will just outwork anyone else on the court, off the court. It doesn't matter. He will put in whatever time and all the time that's required, all the skill, everything to make sure he's successful in life. So like it's wonderful to hear those insights though, because I agree. That is like, it's kind of like, it's the behind the scenes of like, here's how it's made. Here's how Jimmy Butler, sprinkling a Joakim Noah screen, a little bit of Tom Thibodeau coaching over here, a little bit of this. And it's just like, you see his evolution in front of us. Because when he first started, like he was just that kid who was just getting a shit ton of minutes, but wasn't allowed to shoot the ball. He was like, you're fresh in the league. Go defend the best wing on the other team in the playoffs. Go play 40 fucking minutes a night doing that. You're not allowed to shoot though. But it's just like, wow. And then just over time, the evolution of like the things he picks up, the crafty moves, everything he's learned about being a good NBA player. And I do want to asterisk that with the question mark of the Dwayne Wade. I think you were one of the people who had talked about that perhaps set him backwards as far as a mentality. I didn't like Jimmy that year. I didn't think that like the Jimmy that I saw mentally that year, I didn't like it. It was one of those things where I hated Jimmy and I was happy he was traded. But then like shortly after that, and it's like, it was one of those things where it's like, I knew where we were as a team, but it was just like the stories we heard coming out and how it's like, basically like Rondo against D Wade and Jimmy. I just think when Rondo is the good guy to story, like you're like, man, this is fucked up.
I just think D Wade was a bad influence on Jimmy. That's all it comes down to. But Dave, 112-109, Heat with the win. And my simple question here, there was a lot that went on, is Heat going to win in 6 or Celtics in 7? Is this one going to go the distance, or did the Heat basically say,
I like how you're like, not even Heat in 7. It's Heat in 6 or Celtics in 7.
Well, I feel like it's the old adage of
every game's been so close.
Our friend Dave Wahlberg said this about when the Hawks and the Red Wings were playing in the playoffs.
Yep.
And we were going in tied 2-2 into a game 5, and he goes, we got to win game 5. Game 5's a must win. And I go, why? He goes, if we win game 5, we'll win game 6. He goes, if we lose game 6, but win game 5, we will lose game 7. And that's how I feel here. We're like, the Heat to me, could they win game 7? Yeah, they could. But I feel like the momentum is on. Game 6 is super important. Build off this momentum. Fucking, like, could you imagine if the Heat end it in fucking game, like, so they end it in game 5, or they end it in game 5 and then just get to watch the Lakers and the Nuggets play? Like, if the Nuggets just give Lakers hell the rest of the series and the Lakers don't end it in 5 like they usually do, like, that's what I'm thinking of. Like, can the Celtics come back from this? Or will this be the Heat just got to win one of the next 3 and they're going to win at least one?
Yeah, and that's what I kind of feel. I feel like it's one of the next 3. I think the Celtics have played extremely close basketball each and every game, and I feel like they're getting better. Obviously, we saw Jason Tatum struggle early, got better late in that game, but still wasn't enough. I just wonder, like, what's that one thing that the Celtics can do to really put away the Heat? Like, how can they get on a heater and stick with it in this series? Because it just seems like everything that they do, the Heater's like, oh, well, somebody else will have a good night. Goran Dragic had a great night. Oh, well, the Celtics are going to try to shut him down. Oh, Jimmy Butler had a great night. Oh, well, then they'll try to shut him down too. Bam went off. Oh, Tyler Hero. Duncan Robinson's going to shoot 75% from 3 on 15 shots. Like, it just feels like there's an answer to everything that the Celtics throw at them, besides the cheating that they try to do out there with the scumbag that is Kemba Walker and the flapper that is Marcus Smart, who I respect enormously, so I look past.
You respect Marcus, but you don't respect
Marcus
Kemba.
Smart. I absolutely respect the hell out of him, and I would love to have him as a Bull at some point. Kemba Walker, no, scumbag through and through.
Yeah,
now perennial playoff choker.
Yeah, perennial. Dude, I didn't even think about that. If they lose this series, like, should they have just kept Kyrie? Kyrie would have been better than this, right? Kyrie's actually been to a finals.
Kyrie would have played in the bubble anyway, but yeah.
But, like, yeah,
I agree. I agree.
I look at this and I go, like, this is the continuation of this Heat story, and I can't wait to see how it ends. I am fully in on the Miami Heat and are hoping they win the title this year.
It's so hard not to be. Like, they're such a likable team. That's the problem. They're the underdog story, but they've got like the no true superstar system, you know? You've never seen,
unless you want to call Jimmy a superstar.
No, but that's the thing. I've seen people say this, and it was like no other superstar could get away with the stat line Jimmy Butler has and not get openly like murdered for it by the media. And
8 of 20, 0 of 2 from 3. He did have 24 points.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like the dude does all the little things. He does all the things that don't even show in the stat line. He makes the right calls. He says the right things to the right guys. He points at the right directions. He makes defensive coverage switches, like everything you could ask out of somebody. He is giving 110%, and it feels like the whole team is. It feels like that is just their day one mentality was, this is the only way we're going to win as a team. Yeah. And they've been all in as a team since. So, like, such an incredibly likable team. Their fan base might be obnoxious, but they're still better than Celtics fans. So I will take them in a heartbeat.
I remember the debate in the Discord for a little bit was more annoying fan base, Boston or Miami. And it was split down the middle. I feel like it was split, and most people are saying Miami, but then I'm like, Dave, you got to answer. And Dave's like, Boston, no doubt.
Boston will never teach me with the horrible things they say publicly. Like that's just Boston in general, though. Might be.
I just feel like that's a Boston thing in general, where like they speak their mind to the point of like, maybe you shouldn't speak your mind.
That was the thing. Philly booed Santa Claus.
Yes, City of Brotherly Love booed Santa Claus.
Yeah, so like there are worse cities, but like I feel the fan base, because Boston is so successful as a sports town, they're some of the most arrogant pricks out there. But yeah, anyway, I think that Boston comes back in the series because every game has been so incredibly close. I think the Heat do win.
Okay, I was gonna say, are you calling a Celtic win? Like Celtic win the series? Okay,
I am not, because I love Jimmy Butler, and Tyler Hero is clearly the new hotness right now in the NBA.
Jimmy Butler is your father.
At the end of the day, that's the answer. And I want that matchup. I want that finals. I want LeBron James, Jimmy Butler, Froggy Fresh back on the airwaves. Let's do it. Let's make this dream a reality, people.
I will say this. If Jimmy beats LeBron in the finals, that next day, that next Sports Live, we are starting the show off with a live watch-along of Froggy Fresh, Jimmy Butler as your father.
I'm just going to have that playing in the background the entire show. You're going to get an hour's show with just that song.
Do I come over? Do we have a parade outside for the Heat?
I mean, we might have our own Heat
live
parade.
Stream Heat parade here in Chicago.
The question really is I now feel obligated to buy a Miami Vice jersey. It's been the best looking jersey in the league for
Tyler
years.
Hero Vice jersey.
Tyler Hero.
It's got to happen.
Popping off. I mean, he's 20 years old. He's straight killing it. I feel a little bit bad about it because it was the joke of like he came out of Milwaukee and everybody thought he was going to go play for them up there, and then he's like, nope, going to play down. Not going to like Wisconsin. Fuck that. I'm going to play at Kentucky. Yeah. And they literally threw buckets of red paint at his house.
Yes.
Because they're so pissed that he wasn't going to their college, which he didn't have any obligation to.
Yeah.
So he goes down to Kentucky, plays great. You know, I'm a walking bucket. Great fucking line.
I love the meme where it's like it's Tyler Hero puts the scanner to his forehead and then looks at it and it's a bucket.
Yep, that's exactly it is. But then you also got, fucking Jimmy Butler going to Marquette. Like, oof.
Yeah.
You feel that up north, go all the way down my end.
So let's move on, Dave. Let's just go right into it. It's Wet Boys. This is a segment we love to do. The dampest of dudes, the soggiest of shooters, the moistest of men, and sometimes the mistiest of misses. These are Wet Boys. These are our players of the day from the day before. Usually how it works is Dave gives a Wet Boy, I give a Wet Boy, and then the patrons at patreon.com/MVP vids, silver and above, they get to vote each and every Monday through Friday for their own Wet Boy. So if you want the chance to vote, give players love, go ahead and support us at the either silver or above tier. Dave, we're just going to get right into it. Who's your Wet Boy? September 24th, 2020.
We're not going to get right into it because I have a dire question that Philly Sean reminded me of. He's saying he's buying a Vice Hero and Jimmy G Buckets jersey. I don't care. And I wonder if you could get a custom Vice jersey with buckets with Jimmy's number on it.
I think you could.
Would that be the way to go?
I think that's the way to go.
You don't even get Butler on that. You just get buckets.
I think you get buckets. Or G Buckets. Because it's Jimmy G Buckets.
Middle names aren't usually on the...
Good point. Buckets and Hero?
The G stands for gets.
Yeah. Do you go Vice for both of them, or do you Vice Hero and then?
Well, you got multiple Vices now. You got multiple Vices.
Okay. All right.
That's the thing. You got the pinks. You got the whites.
We gotta get you the old Bulls City. We gotta get you the Black Bulls City jersey with Archie Diacono on the back.
That is the one I really want. Is that black and blue one with Archie?
Not that disgusting like cotton candy blue.
What is who thought that looked good?
I get that our flag is blue, but like, come on,
it looks
guys.
good on Zach LaVine, and that was it. Nobody else can pull up, and that's because he had the fucking sneakers to match it.
Yeah,
like he had that baby blue sneaker to match the blue on the jersey. That's the only reason he pulled it off. Anyway, I think I would get a Bucket Spice jersey, but I have to give my Wet Boy today to Tyler Hero. Literally, the game ends, and I sent Ricky the message like, I don't care what their patrons vote for.
I put in the patron thing. Note, Dave locked in Tyler Hero.
Yeah,
I told them
what you guys vote for.
I told them that you were locking it in.
Doesn't matter. This man has just immense basketball talent. He's got huge balls. Just absolutely being able to take the shots he took.
Testicular fortitude.
He has testicular fortitude. You're right. He has massive clankers down there. Like that's
to go back to Vice City. What do you got? You got big cojones? You got big cojones?
This dude made shots that he had. I mean, he's never going to be shy for confidence in his entire life. Yeah. He just hits shots. I mean, 4 feet behind the 3-point line. Yep, got it. Just another bucket. Just another bucket. Super humble post game. Talks about the team. Talks about the coach. Everybody doing their job, everything's so like whatever. It's like, man, this is how you be a likable NBA player right now. Like, he just came up so big in that game.
Just gonna say, I called it. I talked him up before Game 4. I was like, I expect Tyler Hero to have a better game. Had a bad shot the day before. I didn't expect 37 points, the second best rookie performance in points, right above the great Derrick Rose.
I think he was.
Derek had 36.
7th, actually, as far as.
All they showed was Magic was above him, Rose was right below him.
Yeah, there's like 18, or there's like 4 Wilt games above him.
Oh, we don't care about those.
And then
different era of basketball. I'm sorry. Was it Wilt that was basically you're taller than everyone else, so just throw it in and fucking just put it in?
Milkman. Yeah, he was playing against the Milkman.
Yeah.
But yeah, either way, he had a historic performance. He was the go-to guy, and you could see them, like, as soon as they realized he had the hot hand, like, Goran was looking for him, Jimmy was looking for him, Bam playing with a fucking, like, sprained wrist out there, still getting the ball around. I mean, it was just hell of a performance, and, trusting him down the line. I mean, yes, Jimmy made the free throws to end the game, but Hero had some excellent backdoor cut. He made some big shots. Like, it's what you want to see in the fourth quarter of a basketball game.
So Dave, my Wet Boy, I am going away from from basketball, and I am giving my Wet Boy to somebody. I'm trying to find the graphic that I saw earlier today.
On the field or on the diamond.
This was on the field, on the diamond. This is a guy I wanted to give a Wet Boy to last week because he had a really good game, but he lost the game. So I was like, I don't know if I can give you the Wet Boy. but I gotta give it to Trevor Bauer. Not
Is
just
the Bauer hour?
Not just for his play on the field, for his YouTube channel as well, because he's fucking a great vlogger. Plus, you gotta love when Tim Anderson running around the bases is yelling at Bauer. Vlog about that. But Trevor Bauer, 8 innings last night, Dave. Struck out 12. And pretty much leads the league in almost everything. Like, I was talking to Yu Darvish a couple weeks ago about how he could be a Cy Young guy. Yep. I think Trevor Bauer's trying to take the Cy Young away from Yu Darvish because he's just been ridiculous as of late. He's been ridiculous. He's been throwing it. He's fucking like filthy is the word I'm looking for. And I'm looking the top tweet from 5 days ago. Trevor Bauer wore trash can pattern tweets in honor of a certain team in Houston.
Very cool.
So when he played against Houston, he wore trash cans on his cleats, Dave.
That's very cool.
So I had to give love to Trevor Bauer. Had a great game, and he's lighting it up. Season ends, I believe, this weekend. This weekend or on Monday, season ends, and then playoffs start on Tuesday, I think. And then, Dave, the patrons, they're going to your game.
Oh, this
one's low-hanging fruit, but it's a good one. Jimmy G. Buckets. It's the obvious choice. Like, if you're going to take Tyler Hero, Jimmy Buckets is probably the next best choice from that game.
Well, Bam was right there with him, but I got no problem one way or the other. Whatever direction patrons want to go, they were right because, again, it's a heat love fest in here, man. Mm-hmm. This team is getting it done, and Jimmy Butler is just the dude's you talk about having like a team captain, on somebody who sets the tone for everybody else out there. Like, there's no one better for that Heat team than Jimmy Butler. I think it was a perfect marriage made in heaven. You got to thank the 76ers for really fucking everything up.
For letting him walk and go to Miami. Remember the tweet about how, I hope you like the good weather down there because you're never going to be playing in the playoffs, and one went away from the finals.
Yeah, they also passed up on his opponent in Jason Tatum in the draft. So, like, Philly made these playoffs happen. They really set the table.
Actually, you're 100% right. They made this playoff absolutely happen. But Dave, rest of the show, we're moving away from basketball.
Sorry.
Football game is starting very soon. And the next thing we're talking about, Dave, a little bit of baseball. We don't talk about baseball much. We all know how Dave feels about baseball. Would go to a game, loves being at a game, but watching a game on TV might be a little boring.
Snooze fest.
So here's
playoff baseball is different, though, I will admit.
Here's the love I wanted to give to baseball because, like I said, the regular season's wrapping up. I think most teams have 4 games left. And for the Cubs and Sox, they've got 1 game left, and then basically it's a crosstown series for the last one. And for the Cubs, might not really matter too much because the Cubs just need 1 win. Get it tonight against Pittsburgh. I know Pittsburgh has had the number the last 2 games. Maybe Cub fans are kind of thinking that we're kind of backing up into the playoffs instead of taking it. Cubs are 3 games ahead of St. Louis, so if we win tonight, we clinch the division. But it's the AL Central, Dave, that has a toit, like a toiger, a toit race. Whereas the White Sox were in number 1.
Yep.
But as of recent play, heading into the last 4 games, Dave, the Twins lead the division at 35-22. The White Sox are a half game behind them. Last time I checked, the White Sox were beating the Indians tonight, which would influence that. And then we've got the Indians 2.5 games back there. Really, the Indians are there. They've all 3 of these teams have made the playoffs. It's just a question of the White Sox and the Twins. Who's going to make that final push? And I feel like with this one, this is one of those conversations that I know, especially in our Discord, Sam is going to have a very tough time, I believe, if the Twins actually pull it out, because even before the season started, before we knew what this season would entail, Sam was calling for the White Sox. He said White Sox are going to win the division. Twinkies are going to not be happy. And the thing that is most important for especially the Twins and the White Sox, Dave, is because division leaders, so the 3 division winners get 1, 2, 3 in the seeding, that means the White Sox, who were at number 2 behind the Rays, just for losing the division and being a half game behind, could go from 2 all the way to 4 and have to play the Yankees instead of the Blue Jays.
Yep. No, I mean, it's a big fall off. I totally understand. But the scary thing to me has been just Minnesota has been incredibly hot right now. We obviously got we were on a 4-game losing streak. Thank God Keuchel was on tonight and is getting us back on track. But Cleveland had previously just beaten us up the last couple of games. So I don't think Cleveland's going to sneak in front of us as we go down the stretch with just 3 games to go after tonight with the Cubs. Think that we should be in decent shape, but I just don't know that we're going to catch up to Minnesota. That's my fear. Is like we might be locked in where we're at that 2 spot, which would be disappointing because I think I'd like us to see go 1, but it just feels like Minnesota's got just so much fucking firepower.
Yeah, like I mean, it didn't help that they played the Tigers today, or yesterday. I'm sorry, they played the Tigers yesterday,
and they've got the Reds to finish out their season.
And yeah, it's like basically what it's going to be because if I had to look, the Twins aren't playing today. You guys beat the Indians tonight. Let's just say you win because you're up 4-1.
Hopefully we hold it out for the last couple innings.
It basically becomes who can win, who can be better in their last series. You got Sox against the Cubs, Twins against the Reds. Neither of those opponents are easy opponents. And really the thing it adds to is the Cubs-Reds series as well. Because, like I said, the Cubs are three games back are the Reds from the Cubs. So really, unless the White Sox sweep the Cubs and the Reds sweep the Twins, like I don't see the Cubs losing their division. But it's just a fact of, can the White Sox do what they do, Dave? What do they do? Every single year, no matter what the records are, what do they seem to do?
We poop on the Cubs.
Poop on the Cubs. Like, it could be the Cubs are a World Series team and the White Sox are in the cellar. That they bring out that crosstown cup and woohoo, we care about it.
It's lived on the South Side for so fucking long. And again, this season, Game 1, Keuchel was pitching. We beat the shit out of you 10-1.
Yeah.
Very close game. Next game 7-4. Final game was a nail biter out there, 2-1 finish. But you know what?
You guys went 2-1, right?
Yep. If we split 2-1 here again, I think we'll be just fine. I think we'll lock in our second spot. We might get first if the Twins hit
for the 1 spot, it's even trickier.
I just meant over Minnesota.
Oh, for the division.
In division. Like I'm just hoping that we do lock in that 1 spot, assuming they struggle against the Reds for some reason. If we go 2-1, they go 1-2. In business.
Because, I'm looking at it right now, and, even if the Twins win the division, the number 1 seed is pretty much out of reach because both you guys are, 2 games behind the Rays, and I don't see the Rays imploding in their last 3 games. So, the most important thing with this, and this is the thing that makes this race so important, is Twins and White Sox. It's a difference of... You get to play the Yankees are the 5 seed right now, and then the Toronto Blue Jays are the 7 seed, to where it's the Twins might have a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a reason to be holy shit, we got to win this series, because usually when the Twins play the Yankees in the playoffs, it doesn't go well.
Great things happen,
where they might be well, let's have the White Sox deal with that. But it's going to be interesting to see how this weekend rolls around and how the playoffs look going into Tuesday. I believe we get our first 3 games for the playoffs. Dave, the next thing rolling right along, 2 college things and then actually some breaking news on the college side. Yep. Don't expect these to go long, but the breaking news is going to be some... I said we're going to end the show on a positive note, and then basically college football said, hey, go fuck yourself.
I warned you. We talked about this.
I knew it was going to happen. But the college basketball side and really football side of it, Dave, is there's a bipartisan bill being introduced to Congress. It got introduced today, I believe, that basically, if it is passed through Congress, will give college athletes the ability to actually make money on their name, on their likeness, give them more marketability. To you, Dave, how is this just the duh kind of move, and how good of news is this for you if you were a college athlete?
I mean, it really only matters to like the 0.01% of college athletes. Let's be honest. You're not going to see offensive linemen get
the Trevor Lawrences of the world.
You're not going to see the odd sport guys really get paid. So it's good for the people who deserve to get paid. You wish every sport had the same equal deals available to them, but it's just not the case. It's just the money goes where people are interested, and football stars will get paid, and that's perfect. Yeah. It's what football needs in college. Woohoo!
What?
All right. I'm just watching the.
Oh, okay. But yeah, it's finally the article came up for me. The bill co-authored by Republican Anthony Gonzalez of Ohio and Republican Emmanuel Cleaver of Missouri. Or I'm sorry, Representative who Gonzalez is a Republican from Ohio. Cleaver is a Democrat from Missouri. Provides some restrictions on the type of products or companies college athletes would be allowed to endorse. It stops short of implementing all of the restrictions that the NCAA and other college sports administrations have asked Congress to help them impose. The proposed law would also create a 13-member commission whose role would be to recommend ways for legislators to change the law as the nuanced market for college athletes becomes more clear and any unintended consequences emerge. Gonzalez told ESPN, the reality is we're going down a path we've never gone down before. I think this is a great thing. Of course, like you said, not all sports are created equal. And does that suck? Yeah. But like at the very least, it could even be something of, let's say you're an NAIA athlete and the local rib shop wants you to do a signing or something. You can technically do that and not have to worry about someone calling in on you. Like, yes, it's different like values of getting paid, but you can market yourself.
Sandwich somewhere.
Yeah, you can market yourself.
The stories you've heard about, like, this guy bought me a fucking like Subway sandwich. Like, well, that's impermissible benefits right there. You got paid for being who you are, and that's a violation.
Yeah.
Like,
so
like the NCAA has been the fucking boogeyman for college athletes for so long. I'm happy to see that things are finally getting to a closer towards fair.
Yeah. And then Dave, the last thing we're talking about has to do with college football.
Two college football.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The last things they have to do with college football. I'll ask you, Dave, do you want to start with the positive or the negative?
Let's start with the positive. We'll end on the negative. That is tradition around here.
So the positive is the story that I originally intended to kind of use as our outgo today without the breaking news, is basically Colorado, their football practices have been canceled, mainly because of the city of Boulder. The city of Boulder put in place a two-week kind of stoppage for students and gatherings, limiting the number of students that can gather between the ages of 18 and 22. That basically says no more college practices for you. So this is going to lead into the negative, but the good thing is here, city of Boulder, you're doing the right thing. Like, thank you that somebody has the mindset. Yes, is it only 2 weeks? I'm not going to focus on that.
Hey,
my mindset is a win, Dave, and we have 2 weeks where somebody is putting in regulations so that people might not get sick. Might not.
You know what I saw today?
What?
I saw a video of a woman in the stands getting tased because she refused to leave a high school football game because she wasn't wearing a mask. She fought back against the security guard who was like, "These are the rules. Everybody agreed to them. They were on the tickets. They were at the bathrooms. They were posted. They were announced during the game. If you're here, you have to be wearing a mask." She refused to do it. She tried to handcuff her. She got tased. And then eventually, got dragged out of there. But it's just like...
You know what? I'm not mad at that. Like,
we're fighting stupid. We're fighting literally as a country. So the fact that they, as a community, basically, a town, whatever city you want to call it, whatever it is, came out and we're like, hey, let's not... Let's how about we fucking not do this to ourselves?
Yeah, it's...
I don't know.
But Dave, the negative news, and there's even more negative news that came out today that I didn't see. The first one is, remember, I think his name's Raheem Moore, Purdue wide receiver, that was like, I'm going to opt out of the season.
Yep.
Well, guess what? He's coming back. He's going to play with Purdue this year. Top draft pick, going to play. So first off, it's like, I don't care. You're stupid. Don't play. I don't even care if you disagree with me. That's how I think. I'm going to be ignorant-minded and tunnel vision there. Because I think you're making the wrong decision.
As to wish an injury on him?
No, I'm not that. Okay. Like, I'm not that far. I wouldn't wish an injury on anyone. I wouldn't wish COVID on anybody. Right. I just think you're stupid for wanting to. Like, I understand where you're coming from. You love to play a game, but you're stupid. Your choice is stupid, and I hope you don't get COVID, but I can't help you because you're putting yourself at risk. Dave, the Pac-12 decided they don't have a heart either. That's how I'm starting this one. Because the Pac-12 announced today, Dave, that they voted and they will play a 7-game slate starting in November. So, Dave, college football is officially back on in all of the Power Fives. Apparently nobody cares about student health. But I will say the Pac-12 has been, a caveat is they have been doing the most with testing, but still, this is a negative in my mind.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true. I mean, look, at the end of the day, you got to give the people
what they want.
Give people what they want. That's what it is. It's just the minority seems to be the people who have common sense. Mm-hmm. You know, the memes about idiocracy becoming reality in 2020 are not wrong. It's kind of sad that people don't want to be inconvenienced to be healthy. Fucking crazy, right? So I don't know. It's just, it is what it is. Football's back. We've decided that the sport, which literally has no value to anyone's life, is more important than everyone's lives. So we're at America.
Yeah,
it's. Hope you feel good about it. Hope you feel good.
The exact quotes here, because I tried to pull it up. So no fans will be allowed to attend Pac-12 games taking place on campuses. I guess that's a positive. That decision will be revisited in January. The conference says, yeah, but in January, that doesn't fucking matter. Because, like, even I saw today, Dave, it was a tweet from the Champagne Room.
Yep.
Where if you're unsure of what the Champagne Room is,
sounds like go ahead.
It's the Fighting Illini SB Nation site.
So because it sounds like a room at a strip club.
Yes. And their picture is like their picture is like curtains from side to side. That's a champagne bottle with an eye on it. But it's spelled champagne, like Champaign, Illinois. They put out a tweet today that I saw that was basically like we want football next month. They quoted a tweet from USF because USF Southern Florida postponed their game against FAU for this Saturday, and the Champagne Room said we want football next month, but we better all go into the season knowing damn well every Big Ten team isn't playing 9 games in 9 weeks.
Yep.
And I was like, that's exactly what Dave said. And the first 2 comments, there's 3 on there. The first 2 are, the first one's, that's the reality, which at least somebody has a brain. But then the other 2 are no negativity, which is like, that's not negativity. That's just being a realist and telling it like it is. And the other one says, watch the naysayers say that's why we shouldn't have played at all. Like they're reacting to kids getting sick at school. It's like we're reacting to this stuff because you guys, and not that person,
not you guys,
but like the conferences are putting these students in these situations. What are we supposed to just ignore it's happening? We're just supposed to ignore that kids are getting sick because they're playing a game that doesn't fucking matter at the end of the day. Do we love college football? I do. Absolutely. I love watching it. But Dave, at the end of the day, is it more important than being alive? No, I would say no. I would almost put. I will say this. I would put nothing over being alive. But that's just me. There is nothing in this life that is more important than breathing air and being alive on this earth.
What if he were saving somebody else's life then?
Depends on who I'm saving. Depends on what's going on. Like, see, but that's a different situation. That's a selfless act. I'm saying, like, there is no physical thing in this world that I would put above my life. What did you just say?
Is football not selfless?
Oh my God. It is probably the most selfish.
It's just every day seems to just be a continual reminder of poor choices made by this country.
Go vote, people. Like, that's what this comes down to. Like, go vote. Like, if you want the change, make the change, be the change, all that good stuff they say. But that's going to do it for MVP Sports Live. Can't have a show that ends positively. No, that'd be too much to ask for here. Oh my God. Discord, make sure to join the Discord. That link is down below in the description, or ! Discord into Twitch chat is how you get that. Thank you, Philly Sean.
4 runs this inning, so now we are behind the Indians.
Oh no. Also, if you want to support us, patreon.com/MVPvids is one way you can do that. You can also go ahead and subscribe to us on Twitch. It's a great way to support us if you want to. And then remember, we're on Twitch every Monday through Friday. That's twitch.tv/MVPvids. But we're also on YouTube at MVP Sports. Dave, I'm going to ask you, can you hear my mom?
Oh, yeah.
It's basically like I'm combating my mom. It's like, Mom, let me finish the show. Please let me finish the show. She probably can't hear me through the door because she's not even focusing on me. Focusing more on her phone call. But that's going to do it for us. Dave and I will be back for Football Friday tomorrow. Remember to shoot us at MVP_vids on Twitter if you want to have any fantasy football questions that you want us to ask. Go ahead and hit us up. We'll be talking fantasy football and then every game for week 3 on Football Friday. But thank you guys for giving us a part of your day. And as always, have a good day, everybody.
Oh, my other wet boil was Tyler won. He won a tournament, the Twitch tournament for League of Legends.
Oh, you forgot to say that.
I did forget. I didn't pull up my fucking Twitch. I didn't even look at Twitch for the majority of the show. Mm-hmm. And I didn't look on one side, and then I saw LOLT1, and I was like, oh, fuck. He was my boy. Their mid got DDoSed in the finals of the tournament.
Yeah.
So they had to bring in some random guy to play mid for them.
And it worked out well?
And still won the tournament. Yep.
Nice. That'll do it.
They won $25,000.
Nice. So there you go. There's Dave's wet boy.
Feel good story at the end of the day.